Los Angeles. It's time to get inside the Gamer's Dome with your host, Scott Gerhardt. Bringing you all of today's gaming news and information all in one place. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the Gamer's Dome.
And welcome everyone to episode 42 of the Gamer's Dome. I am your host, Scott Gerhardt, and this week our co-host is Ian Kasoff.
Hi
Ian,
there.
how you doing?
Good.
Okay. So I'm not even going to pretend like this is going to go flawlessly. I feel like there's no way in heck it can. I also need to close the Twitch thing, or else I'll keep looking at myself, and I shouldn't do that the whole time.
Hey, you're narcissistic enough.
A little bit, yeah. I think I've determined I'm buying a new computer, which is awful.
I need to do the same thing.
I apologize to everyone who's listening to us live. We're almost 40 minutes late because the Murphy's Law of anything that can go wrong went into overdrive tonight.
Except the sound part. That's the only constant that we've had tonight.
Yes. The soundboard works. Oh, good Lord. Hey, Ian, how you doing?
Good. I've just really kind of been prepping for this coming weekend. I'm really excited. It's my first GP since Vegas, so.
Nice. How you getting there?
Driving. I have a couple friends that live near Shuffle and Cut, so I work there Thursday nights, and I'm gonna head up with them Thursday night, and then drive back Sunday.
Nice. That's a haul, though.
Yeah, but there's four of us, so it shouldn't be too bad.
It's not so bad if you got four people.
Yeah, it's a comfy car, gets 40 miles to a gallon, so it's not completely unreasonable priced.
Oh, no, that's not horrible at all.
Flying?
I am. I'm flying in Friday night. So I'm probably going to get there in just enough time to go to sleep. Luckily, since I don't have to show up until noon, I should be good.
Someone has buys.
Someone has 3 buys, yes. and oh, God, do I love my 3 buys, too. They are probably the only thing that let me make day 2 in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we are back after nearly a month hiatus here. Holidays and all. So, well, I know you found your way to CES here recently.
Yes, it was this past Tuesday through Friday, and I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Excellent. So we're gonna be touching on that throughout this first news segment, and certainly a number of these stories came from CES. So certainly feel free to interject personal thoughts and feelings on anything as we come across them, or anything else that you just happen to see.
Sure.
But since we were talking about magic, the first thing I want to mention is that apparently they're going to try a magic movie.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming. I've actually just recently started listening to Morrow, or for those of you who don't know, Mark Rosewater. He has a weekly podcast called Drive to Work, where he talks about a bunch of different design things. And in one of them, they talked about the possibility of doing a magic movie, and how in order to do that, they had to make Planeswalker cards so that people would care about Planeswalkers and have like iconic characters. So it sounds like they've wanted to do this ever since like Urza's blog.
I've actually heard rumors for years and years, like before I even moved to California, and that was in 2001, that they wanted to do a movie. And I know what storyline I want them to do, but they're not going to do it because none of the characters I want them to cover have Planeswalkers.
Yeah. When Mark was talking about what he was doing, he made it sound like you would just have like the core set 5 Planeswalkers, and that's what the movie would be based around.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me so much.
Yeah, I mean, you have good interaction between like Liliana and Garrick already. That's a pretty cool plot line right there.
Yeah, no, that should be good. I'm looking forward to it now, but then again, just because they've announced it doesn't mean it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, all the article. Are you linking to the articles that you gave me on Twitch or somewhere for other people to see? Or are we just talking about it?
I'm usually just talking about it. I could. I certainly can.
The article just says that 20th Century Fox bought the rights towards Magic to make a movie, which happens with a lot of things, and movies don't actually get made out of it. They just have the rights for a certain amount of time.
Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Magic's getting more popular. It's as popular now as it's ever been.
Yeah, I don't quite know how. I mean, it sounds like it would be a little bit too high budget of a movie in terms of special effects and computer graphics for it to actually make money. So I doubt it'll be made, but it would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Okay. Oculus. Did you see anything about Oculus while you were at CES?
So CES is massive. They have a bunch of halls. They take up the whole convention center and a bunch of other stuff. But when you walk into the central hall, or when you walked into the central hall of CES, there was Intel, which was right there, and they were showing off this, virtual reality stuff. I didn't know it was Oculus at the time. I ended up being sent on a wild goose chase by my brother, to a bunch of different hotels and to meetings or whatever to find Oculus. Turns out that was their demos. They had 4 stations. It looked very cool. I didn't get to play it because the lines were like 50 people long, and they had 4 stations, and each person had at least 5 minutes. So I didn't get a test with it, but walking by, it looked very cool. They were playing in the video article you saw, they were playing the EVE game, so it was like space exploration and fighting in virtual reality.
No, I wish that's one of the things I really wish I'd gone to CES to be able to see, because I feel like that's a very interesting way to do gaming. Yeah,
Sony had a similar type thing. Sony had it. It wasn't necessarily virtual reality. It was more of a make it look like you're in a movie theater, like you're in a giant movie theater, and you can watch movies and play games with all that. It's obviously not as adept as Oculus, but that was kind of cool too. Not quite sure how much I like it, because comfort's a big issue. Having that strapped to your head for hours seems like it could hurt, but that's why I know in the article they said they're not going to release it till they can get the comfort value down.
Get a little tiring there. It was 5 minutes because they could only handle 5 minutes at a time.
It looks fun. One of the things they were saying is, if you look down, you expect to be able to see your hands, and when you see just more of the scene, it's kind of a weird out-of-body experience.
Yeah, I would like to try this. I think that would be a neat thing to try.
Yeah, it's been coming for years. I remember having the old school Virtual Boy. That was badass back in the day.
Oh yeah, but now it's starting to maybe get to the point that it might actually become semi-mainstream.
It'd be nice. Price is obviously going to be an issue.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like anything else. It'll start really expensive and it'll get cheaper.
But it definitely looked fun, and that's where I saw some other stuff that we'll be talking about later in the show at the Intel booth. Intel was very cool this year.
So, there's just no way to segue this one here. I'm a bit of a wrestling nerd, and I don't generally like to admit it, though I believe I have several times on this show. So, WWE's been talking about a WWE network for a while. Now, Vince McMahon has this long tradition of, well, really failure, if we're just being completely honest here. Pretty much everything he's done, with the exception of the WWE, has fairly well flopped on its face. Does anyone remember the XFL?
Well, to his credit, it's coming back, just not as an XFL. We have more arena football leagues. His just wasn't too good.
No, I like the idea that they're doing a full-on subscription-based thing where you can on demand 24/7, $10 a month, and the only reason I even mention it is because it's being carried on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4.
Sorry, Wii U.
Yeah, womp womp. Or just
the good thing about this WWE network is when it hits, is it sounds like for that $10 a month, you get the pay-per-view for free.
Yeah,
which is basically more than you would spend on the subscription if you bought it separately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and that's the point. I think it's interesting. You're right. $10 a month, and they hold about 12 pay-per-views a year. Yeah. And they're normally, what, 40, 50, 60 bucks?
Yeah.
So now you're getting them for 10 a month.
Plus having it on demand, which is awesome. I used to watch well, it was WWF when I watched it.
Back in the day.
Don't so much anymore.
Yeah, I don't have nearly as much time to watch it as I'd say as I like, but I don't know. I go back and forth. I just find it very interesting to see, like, are they going to be able to get gamers away from playing games to sit there and watch their WWE programming? I don't know. I
mean, of the gamers I know, a large subset of them watched WWF and WWE. I don't know how much it would take to get them back to it. I don't know what I'm sure their age demographic is probably like 12 to 25 for the most part, which is a lot of what video game demographics is. So I think it would work pretty well. It's not too expensive either. Seems fun. I mean, having it at your fingertips is probably the easiest thing, rather than having to DVR stuff and fast forward through it and whatnot. If I was still into the WWE, I would definitely pay for this. $10 a month is nothing.
Yeah, well, especially if you're already looking at getting most of the pay-per-views anyway.
Right. And it makes it easier to host your parties, too, because you can have one person sign up for this. You can go to their house, put your WWE network info into it, and still have a pay-per-view party at someone else's house using your account.
Precisely.
So, if only the UFC did something like this.
That would be great. That would be great. So, I have a question for you. Do you like Xbox?
I
just
have
in general.
never owned an Xbox. My brother had an Xbox and a 360, and when he went away to college, he took it with him. I've played it. I've liked it. I've transitioned more to a PC guy, just because I'm not the biggest fan of first-person shooters. But, I mean, I still play the Xbox when my brother has it home. I
probably failed a little bit on that question. Because I was looking for was just a general yes, which I probably should have said, do you like video gaming? And then I was going to ask you if you like trolling.
No.
No?
No, I don't. Maybe, I don't know. My personality is, I don't like trolling. But I have seen this article. I think it's hilarious. I got to give the guy props. Like, if it happened to me, I would just laugh.
Okay, so a guy out there made the Xbox user tag Xbox sign out. So he's making it so that when people actually say his name while playing, Xbox hears it and signs them out.
Yeah.
I seriously just kind of died laughing on that one.
Yeah, I mean it's hilarious. I mean, yeah, it's griefing, and I'm sure it's annoying for everyone, but it's like the old school. You're playing MMOs, and you can get a free item if you hit Alt F4, and people will do it, and then they get pissed and they don't do it again.
I got so many free items. Wait a minute, no, I didn't. Why do they call it an Xbox 360? Because when you see it, you do a 360 and walk the other way.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, I've heard that plenty of times. And for those of you that are really slow, a 360 is a circle, and you end up right where you started.
Yes, if you start saying, but he's doing it wrong. He's doing it wrong. Yes, he is.
I think the next item is probably more impressive than the trolling, though, on our agenda. So apparently, I had no idea about this, but was it Pizza Hut or Domino's?
It's Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut an app in Xbox that you can buy pizza online through the app.
And I remember actually covering this story on the show months ago.
Oh, I had no idea about it.
When it first came out, and I kind of made fun of it a little bit.
Yeah, so it launched in April of 2013, and as of now, it's done more than $1 million just through the app.
Wait, hang on. Hang on a second. Are you trying to tell me that gamers eat pizza? I would never have guessed it.
Now you just need Monster to create an app and deliver Monster.
Oh, good Lord. In a way, I make fun of it here, but I am a little surprised almost with as many ways as you can do it, like through your phone and through your computer and just calling them up, that they made this app, and this app is still sold over $1 million in pizza.
I mean, I think it's cool that you can use it with voice commands. That's the only innovative part. And for people that are really lazy, I guess you just pull it right up while you're doing it.
Xbox, repeat pizza order.
Yeah, I mean, it's innovative. It's something new. They tried it, and it probably cost them not that much to create this app, and they've seen a decent return.
Well,
they're going to make it for PlayStation and Nintendo platforms.
People are making things for Nintendo platforms these days?
I know.
It doesn't seem like it.
Oh, yeah. Just Zelda. That's the only reason why you get a Nintendo platform, right? Zelda and Pokemon? I do love me some Nintendo. I'm an old school fan, but man, they're just not keeping up. I mean, Earthbound's one of my favorite games of all time. But, yeah, it's meant for more families. Mario Party is still super fun. Oh, yeah. Fun in college. Not the kind of game that most gamers are going to play, though, unless they're at a party. Probably not. So, do you have a Netflix subscription? I do have a Netflix subscription, and I love it. Netflix, Hulu. I don't have Hulu Plus, but I don't have regular TV when I'm not at home. Yeah, so Netflix and Hulu covers you, but what about when you got that urge to play that old video game that you don't have anymore? What don't you wish you could just get a streaming service that would get you that old game? It sounds like it's going to be a lot cheaper than GameFly too, which is nice. PlayStation Now is apparently going to do said service, looking about $12 a month or so. It looks like. I believe that's what it said. $12 a month, you can stream old video games to all your devices. So yeah, it's like PS4, Vita, PS3, tablet, smartphones, everything. Well, I mean, all Sony devices, of course, but of course. That's a. Can I start? It's smart. I mean, that should drive. It'll drive a lot of GameFly stuff down for PlayStation devices because GameFly is just too expensive. Yeah, and so do we know what it'll actually play? Like, how far back will it go? I mean, I'm assuming the most current games are not going to be there. I mean, this is still early announcements, so yeah, we know it exists. It'd be nice. I mean, I'd probably only be likely to purchase something like this if it had, even if new games were released 30 days after, I'd do it. I can wait 30 days. You're not getting games for a year. There's no way I'd pay for this. Yeah, if it's new. I mean, it depends. Are you wanting to play all the old retro games, or is it just new games, or what? So we'll see as things come out. I have a feeling that the new games it's gonna take them a while. I think it's gonna be somewhere between that 30 and that 365 number. I'm thinking it's gonna probably be about 6 months. But that sounds about right. I mean, Sony's smart enough not to fuck over the developers. They need time to recoup their costs from sales. So yeah, precisely. It's you've got to put it in stores for 6 months and give them a good chance to really sell them. Yeah. In related news, GameStop's stock went down 9%. Yeah. This was kind of expected even before we heard this because we had already heard of of PlayStation and Xbox, not allowing you to resell your games and whatnot. So just having similar type things, GameStop and used game sales is going to be a thing of the past. Yeah, it's just about gone. So, I mean, I still love my GameStop. You can get your old school systems from there, but that's about all they're good for.
Yeah, pretty much. So I want to hit a couple other things real fast here. So Project Christine from Razer is this new little modular computer that you can just swap parts in and out, and they're even talking a little bit about possibly a subscription service. Like, I have some subscription services, but subscribing to the newest computer parts
seems costly. But
yeah, I have no idea what that's going to run. That cannot be a cheap subscription service.
No, that would have to be like what, between $50 and $100 a month, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But
you buy every new piece is doable. So for those of you that aren't completely familiar with what we're talking about, just recently Razer released what they're calling a modular computer, where everything kind of looks the same, fits in perfectly, uses mineral oil for cooling, so there's no fans, and it kind of just, you plug each piece in, and you take out the parts as you need them, you put them in, so it's really easy to replace. Those of you that are watching, just type in Razer, Project Christine, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's quite cool. They had it at CES. They had a nice display case and won some big award. It looks interesting. We'll see how it turns out. It's still, I think they said at least 2 or 3 years in the pipeline for this to actually come out.
Yeah, but yeah, it does. It looks really, really neat. And Razer usually does a pretty good job of making a splash there at CES. Their Razer Edge.
They make good products. I have my Razer headphones right next to me. So
yeah, the Razer Edge won last year for Best of CES. So no real shocks here. So tell me a little bit more here. I know you mentioned about a Steam machine. I want you to tell me about that one, because that's interesting.
So Steam, if those of you familiar with it, they've announced what they call the Steam Box, and it's basically you can run your Steam on any TV and have hookups for controllers and whatnot. So different manufacturers are making these Steam machines or Steam boxes. So Gigabyte has made one. With Intel, it has, i3, i5, i7, Sandy Bridges in it. And it's small, It's like, I don't know, the size of 2 of these Theros booster packs by maybe 1 in thickness. It's really small, mostly by Gigabyte, and fits in the palm of your hand, and like I said, has a Core i3 57. Doesn't have any built-in storage, so you just have a flash drive, which now they have flat USB SSD drives, which I saw at CES. You store everything on those, you take it where you want, you run your Steam games, but you can also load, Unix, Linux, Microsoft OS, Mac OS. And
wow.
So it's a PC that, is super tiny, and it looked awesome.
I may be in the market for a new PC.
Gigabyte Bricks, BRIX, I believe is what they called it.
It's interesting.
They looked really cool. Don't know how soon they're out to market, but they didn't look too expensive either, which was the nice part. I think I was checking, and they were like a couple $100.
Interesting. Yeah. I didn't see much about that one, so that's interesting. So was there anything else from CES that caught your eyes, things you want to talk about?
So there are 3 things. 2 are really short. One is Razer has their own smartwatch called Nabu. It won some big CES award. I didn't get to see it used, but it looked really nice. It looks better than most of the smartwatches I've seen. For headphones, Wicked Audio actually makes really nice headphones for music. I got 2 free pairs. I got a free headphones and earbuds. They're really good quality. I don't think they're that expensive. And the third is just the new TV, the new TVs, OLEDs, and 4K resolution. So right now, most of our 1080p is basically what would be called 2K resolution, because it's 2048 by some other number. So 4K resolution is basically twice as many pixels, and the picture is just gorgeous. It looks like you're there. And a couple of games, most honestly, Final Fantasy VIII has 4K compatibility already. So they had some benchmarking videos of character creation, and it was gorgeous. It's really hard to explain looking at it, because you can't view a video of it on your computer screen, because your computer screen isn't 4K compatible. You have to be there to see a 4K screen. Now, OLEDs are out, They're expensive. You can go to like Best Buy and look at them. But eventually the price will come down and they will be very nice.
Yeah, I haven't bought a new TV in years myself, so the idea of getting something like this is just amazing.
Yeah, I went with my uncle, told him that's what I wanted to see. He sees the first one, goes, I don't really notice anything. And then they have a side-by-side of a regular 1080p and a 4K TV, and his jaw just drops. He's like, oh, never mind.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they have curved ones now, so you get like better sight angles, because the OLED, which is organic LED, you can play with it a lot, and you can bend the actual TV screen. So you get better sight angles when you're not just looking straight at it. That's a cool little new addition too.
Wow, it's just amazing, the innovations on something as I don't want to say as simple as a TV, because TVs have been around for forever, but just all the advances and just of getting sight and sound from the box to your brain. Yeah,
this is no more cathode ray tube stuff. This is high tech. They even, they had some glassless 3D. I'm not the biggest fan of 3D. I was really waiting for 4K. One big company, I forgot the company, they had a massive 3D TV. It was a whole 4K 3D with glasses that took up the side of like a whole wall, and all they did was play stuff on it, and that was gorgeous.
Wow, that's
for those of you that actually want to see what I'm talking about, other than just like going to Best Buy and looking at it, there are certain movies now that are being shot in 4K, and certain theaters will have 4K projectors. You just kind of have to do some research and figure out where your theater is. But the difference is, it's basically it looks like you're there. The difference in picture quality is amazing.
Okay, last thing I want to mention here in the end of the first segment is actually what we were talking about at the beginning of the segment. And we were talking about Grand Prix Sacramento. So it's been commented already that I didn't mention where this Grand Prix was. It's Sacramento. It's going to be a Theros limited GP. I'll be there. Ian will be there.
Yep. There's a lot of big names that are going to be there.
Yeah. It's
those of you who watch Twitch streams, a bunch of the streamers are just practicing Theros.
Yeah, I've been I picked up Magic for the first time since limited Magics for the first time since Dublin like 2 days ago, which I can't argue too much. I've done 4 drafts so far. I won all 8 fours on Moto. I've won 2 of them, and I made the finals of the 3rd one. So
that's pretty good.
That's and I only kind of lost in the finals because I misclicked. Like I was doing 2 things at once, and I accidentally said okay when the 4/5 2-headed dog.
Nessie.
No, the dog. The double striking dog.
Cerebrus?
Yeah, it had already gone ordeal on me. And it had a fire...
Double strike will do that to you.
It had a fire breathing the dragon's
mantle, yep.
Mantle on it. And I meant to block it. I just misclicked and clicked OK. And he was like, really? Really? Pump, you're dead? Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, sure. Is there any, for those of our Magic listeners, are there any archetypes that you really liked that you've tried to force, or is it mostly just been looking and reading the draft and then picking up what's not as highly drafted?
You know what? It really has been a lot of reading. The 2 that I won with a bad red-white deck. I don't even want to say it was red-white heroic because there really wasn't crap for heroic in there. Just a really bad red-white deck. I had one that I won that was mostly red, splash a little bit of black. And the one today was blue-green.
That's my favorite color
that was splashing blue or splashing white for a fleece mane lion and a I don't even know the white blue 2/2 that can't be blocked except by power 2 or less.
Daxus,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, the only one that really bombed out on me, I think, was I'm trying to remember. I think I went black-green. But I think I was also splashing like 2 other colors, which wasn't a problem. My opponent's deck was just nuts, so sometimes that happens. Anyway, so everyone's going to be in Sacramento, So if you want to actually try your skills against what's going to be one of the strongest fields, period, then this should not scare you off. Go. And if you're wondering, do I have the chops? This is where you're going to find out if you have the chops. And not to mention, you can all these names that you've been seeing on streaming, and everything you can go. Not to mention, there's tons of side events. Channel Fireball is primarily putting this one on in conjunction with Cascade, and those two do a great job. So try to go to Sacramento. And the weekend after, I don't suppose you're going to Vancouver, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm still studying for the bar, so this is enough of a break from studying just to go to the GP.
Fair enough. I'm giving Vancouver a crack as well because I've never actually been up there.
It's a city. I like Vancouver a lot.
Professional Event Services, PES, is putting that one on, and that's another company that's been doing these things for pretty much since Magic's been running tournaments. These guys have been doing it, and they've been doing a really good job of it. Vancouver, as you just said, is a very beautiful city. I'm really looking forward to going just in general. So,
PES is the company that did every single Versus Pro circuit back when Versus existed. So, they have a ton of experience.
Oh yeah, they ran a lot of the side events at Magic Pro Tours way back in the day. I remember doing some judging for them back in the 90s.
So and to give us all a little bit of hope in Sacramento, because Channel Fireball is running it, Ben Stark will not be playing. He will be doing commentary.
Hang on. There's a button I'm looking for here. See, I can find it any other time. Now Yeah, last time I went to an event up near that area, I ran into Ben Stark, and Ben Stark crushed me.
Yeah.
So, okay. When we come back here, we're going to have Joey Vigour with Mirrorbox Games. They have a Kickstarter for Chaosmos coming up. We're going to talk to him. You are listening to the Gamers Dome on the Drawing Board Radio Network.
See you soon.
Okay, welcome everyone back to the Gamers Dome. At this time, wait, let's close the messages so that we don't see weird messages pop up there. I would like to welcome our guest with, I'm getting this backwards because it's been one of those nights. Mirrorbox Games putting out Chaosmos. Joey Vigour, a.k.a., for those who can see it on Twitch, Dr. Underpants.
Thank you.
Hey,
Glad to be here.
How's it going?
Very good.
Okay, so I want to go ahead and start by just asking the most basic question out there. What is Chaosmos?
So Chaosmos is a hand management strategy board game, but it's set in a collapsing universe. So this is the end of time, and you're literally at the end of time and space, and you are going to be this alien from a civilization, and you're tasked with recovering the most singular and greatest object in the history of the biocosm, the ovoid, which is rumored to save the race that possesses it. So you're going to be moving around from planet to planet in this game, looking for this thing, the ovoid. You're going to try to get it and possess it, but you want to have it at the end of the game. But until the end of the game, all it does is fill up your hand. So it's kind of a complicated cat and mouse. It's like a treasure hunt or a capture the flag played out as a board game.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually watched a full video on the gameplay. I haven't had a chance to play it myself, but I watched the video and I was like, it just really seemed very intriguing. What you guys had set up, that system of who cares who has it for 59 turns? It just matters who has it on the 60th.
Right. So it's a game that features a fairly innovative mechanic called area-specific envelopes, where every planet has a specific envelope that relates to that planet. And so if you land on the blue planet, Ulu, there's a blue envelope that contains all the cards, which is the equipment and the weapons that are on that planet Ulu. So if you land on Ulu, you can take control of that planet's envelope, take all the cards that you want, leave the cards you don't need or cards that you want to hide. Because you have a 7-card hand limit, you're going to have to make hard choices. What do I want to keep now, and what do I want to get rid of? Almost every card in the game is great, but only situationally. So you're constantly trying to stay fluid, paying attention to what other players are doing, because if you think, okay, they're setting up a vault over on Jagladak, and they're probably putting the ovoid inside of that vault, but I have a key here, and I could carry the key with me, but if it turns out I'm wrong, and they set up a base, maybe I should have carried an anti-base weapon instead. And so you're constantly trying to stay one step ahead of your opponents and adapt to their strategies, because all their weapons have counter cards. But if you're carrying around a counter card that reflects damage to their weapon, and they know you have that counter, they're going to dump off that weapon and get a different weapon, and now you're carrying a counter that's not going to help you. So you're constantly paying attention to what's happening, looking for the ovoid. If you get the ovoid, you can either keep it in your hand, which is dangerous because they can steal it from you in battle, or you can hide it somewhere and you can protect it with face-up cards inside the envelopes. So there's a lot of thought-provoking strategic depth to the game, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I was watching the video, I think that was one of my favorite parts, is doing the envelope allows you to do a lot of different things that you can in other games. You haven't mentioned it, but traps with vaults and bases, those are all things you can't have in other games necessarily the same way. And the idea of having a trap or a vault set on a base or set on a planet is a really innovative idea.
Right, yeah, thanks. So I think the most exciting aspect of the game is that it really just is different from everything else I've ever seen. People ask me, "Oh, well, what game is it most like?" And it's a tough question because you don't want to be pretentious and say it's not like anything, but it's kind of difficult. It's more like you're living inside of this epic movie, and it sort of plays out on its own. And there is a lot of chaos in the game in that everything you do has ripple effects throughout the rest of the game, but there's not a lot of randomness. There's not a lot of luck. There's a little bit of dice, but it's a fairly low amount of dice rolling in the game. Generally, the game is about the choices you make have direct consequences. And so if you take an environment card from one planet and you move it just to an adjacent planet, but now the player that needs that environment card to go to a different planet doesn't know where it is because he was busy doing something else when you were doing that, and he wasn't paying attention, or he didn't peek at that planet using special equipment that lets him do that. So now the end of the game comes, he's lost track of his environment gear. He might have all the weapons in the world, but if you're hiding out on that planet, he can't land and get you. So there's lots of that going on where you don't necessarily need to have the biggest blaster or ion grenade in order to win. It's more about paying attention, tactically setting traps and vaults, not just setting them up willy-nilly whenever you find one, carrying that vault or carrying that trap to the right planet at the right time so that when you get the ovoid, you can protect it, and then get away so they don't know where it is. And if they do know where it is, maybe they don't have the card that beats the trap, the card that beats the vault. So it's a very strategic game, despite the name. There's a lot of chaos, but not a lot of disorder.
So I was going to actually ask a question that you semi-answered a little bit here. So I'm gonna phrase it several different ways and then let you answer it however you want. So were there any particular games or even game designers that necessarily helped inspire this game, and or you can fill in the blank here. If you liked playing blank, you'll love playing Chaosmos.
Well, your first question, I am a huge fan of Eric Lang, who designed, amongst other things, Chaos in the Old World, which is a Warhammer set board game where you're actually playing cards directly onto the board that messes with your opponent. But I didn't even know about that game until long after the initial design for Chaosmos was finished. I would say the most influential designers that inspired this game was probably Peter Olotka and Bill Eberly and Jack Kittredge, the designers of Cosmic Encounter, and the original Dune game, which is now rethemed and re-released by Fantasy Flight as Rex. These games, Rex and Cosmic Encounter, are just incredible. They're very simple to learn, but you're going to be playing these crazy alien powers that each alien breaks a different element of the game. And so once you learn the rules and you say, well, that's it, that's all I'm doing, is I just point my little ship at you and I announce how many I'm attacking with, and that's it. Yes, but, and there's a big but, and the but is, okay, but now you can switch powers with your opponent, or, instead of needing a high number to win, you need a low number to win, or, you can look in other people's hands, or you can give people bad cards, you can take good cards. So our game Chaosmos uses this variable player power idea and takes it a little bit further, in that you have this crazy unique power, but you're also moving around this fairly large sandbox, exploring planets, battling people, and setting vaults and traps, and trying to outwit and thwart your opponents. So I definitely recommend Cosmic Encounter. And your final question, which games? Well, let me see. There was a reviewer, Undead Viking, said that Chaosmos is Cosmic Encounter meets Battlestar Galactica, the board game. In that Battlestar Galactica, there's a lot of mystery, hidden roles. Who is the Cylon? Who is not the Cylon? I think you're the Cylon. Let's put you in the barracks. And it turns out, oh well, he was innocent. In this game, the hidden role changes, because if you have the ovoid, then I want to figure out where you are and what you're doing with it. But as soon as you lose the ovoid, or as soon as I get the ovoid, I totally don't care about you, except just as another way to protect the ovoid. So I think that's fairly apt, but I would say that Chaosmos is not really similar to either game.
Okay, so one thing is that I actually saw you guys back in March when you were at the Gamma Trade Show. And
I remember.
Chaosmos was out, and it's 10 months later now, and we're getting the Kickstarter. What's gone on in this time period, and why is now the right time to finally get the Kickstarter launched out?
And does that mean that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. First of all, back in March, we had a rudimentary prototype of the game, and it played great, and it looked fine. It was good enough to get the attention of a bunch of publishers, and we took a bunch of meetings, and originally we were looking for a mainstream publisher to sell it to. What we had not done a lot of was playtesting and blind playtesting. And blind playtesting, which I'm sure you know, you sit in a corner and you watch new players who don't know how to play your game sit down, open the box, and try to learn your game based exclusively on the rule book and the components. And that process alone is critical, because there's a lot of things you have to learn. Like, not so much is your game broken, because we had pretty much closed all the loose ends at that point, but more a matter of, do people have fun playing the game the first time if they don't know how to have fun playing the game? So it's a lot of testing and rewriting the rules, and honestly getting a lot of great feedback on how to tweak the alien powers to make it a little bit better balanced, because the game is very asymmetrical, and when you have a game that's very American style and not as much Euro style, it's much more difficult to find balance with asymmetrical powers, and the best way to do it is to play test a lot, and that's what we did. And it's been an amazing ride, meeting people at cons, signing them up to our email list. When we launched our Kickstarter, we had somewhere between 450 and 500 email addresses, all from people that had either played our game or for other reasons were ready to back the project. And preparing for our Kickstarter launch, getting our art ready, shooting a Kickstarter video, and then we launched on January 2nd, and we're gonna wrap up here February 2nd.
Yeah, I make this point about how it was, and I don't even know where you were prior to that, but at least as far as I've seen, it's been 10 some odd months. So many people just try to create just a quick Kickstarter and just throw it out there and just be like, oh, I have a game here, give me money. And that's not what's happened in this case. This is a scenario where you've taken this game and you've evolved it, and you've really gotten it down to the point where it plays fluidly, and it's a great game, and it's not like something that's in development, and you're finally putting it out on Kickstarter as a, hey, you're actually getting a real finished product, not something that we're going to be pushing the deadline back on 6 months because, oops, we forgot to play test it.
Right. And there's another aspect of it, too, which is that I've actually been working on this game with my brother. He's been doing a lot of the art, and I've been doing the design mechanics for many years. And I thought, we have all these other games we want to make, but this is the game I'm most proud of. And why would I want to put it up on Kickstarter, as just a bunch of low-quality cardboard? A friend of mine referred to Chaosmos as a board game as art object. In other words, we want to get the best quality components. We actually spent, let me see if I can find some of my guys here. We spent quite a lot of time, I don't know if you can see this, designing these miniatures, and we got 8 alien miniatures in the base game, and we have a couple for stretch goals. And I'd always wanted miniatures, but I didn't know how to go about getting them. And so part of it is just joining the community full force, playing games, going to conventions, meeting local designers, being active on Board Game Geek, and it's been an amazing ride. And here we are, and we're $57,000 in, and we've been funded. We were funded on this day 6, I think.
Yeah, and for those who are just listening to this and didn't actually get to see those figures, they are some gorgeous looking figures. I saw some in another video, and I was like, wow, they are just incredible. Just the detail is a lot better than what you would normally see out of a Kickstarter here. Yeah,
so we actually partnered with a company called Sculptio to do 3D printing for our prototype miniatures, and we're adjusting the models to be as gorgeous as they are now, but they're going to be plastic injection molded, and you'll be able to paint them if you want to. And there's even a really high tier which sold out, believe it or not, and we're going to have to add some more slots for pre-painted miniatures. So it's just blown my mind how much the miniatures has really gotten to people. People love miniatures, and they love feeling like, if I'm going to play a thematic game, I really want to play a game with miniatures. And I'm so glad that we did it, because I really never envisioned the game without miniatures. So that's been wonderful.
So that leads into my next question. You have the Kickstarter up and going. I mean, obviously, eventually you would think, okay, people would just pick this up in the store. What kind of things can you get off the Kickstarter that, like, you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, or why? Where? Talk a little bit about this specifically and why people should back this project, because obviously the game itself already sounds amazing. So what's the Kickstarter aspect of it?
Sure. So there's a bunch of different rewards that people can get. The obvious reward is the boxed game, but for $30 more, you're going to end up with a bonus miniature alien. So his name is Morals the Mimic, and he can duplicate other people's powers, and he's kind of a slimy, mysterious alien. And that's going to be a Kickstarter exclusive, so we are not going to sell that at cons. We're not going to sell that over the internet or mail order or anything like that. That's just for Kickstarter. So we want the people who are willing to spend a little bit more to get something that's special. And a lot of people understand the process of Kickstarter. It's not just a matter of pre-sales. It's really, you're buying into my dream. And so Morals the Mimic is great. There's 6 bonus cards that you can get that do some really interesting things. They kind of reimagine the way defense cards work, and a new a new creature that fights for you called the Blob, which is really fun. So and then like I said, for quite a bit more money, you can get pre-painted miniatures, and then all the tiers are going to be $5 off the MSRP. So you're going to get the game cheaper now than you're going to be able to get if you go to a game store later. And you'll also have, of course, the satisfaction that you're getting it directly from the designers, and the more of the money is going to go into not just the second printing of the game, but making this first printing as absolutely gorgeous and amazing components as possible. We've already hit our first stretch goal, which is to have thick cardboard, like Fantasy Flight quality cardboard, and we're about, and probably tomorrow we're going to hit our another stretch goal, which is to have blue core quality cards like Magic the Gathering uses. So, and we're just keep going up, and I have no doubt that we're going to hit all of our major stretch goals at this point. So I'm really excited.
And for those of you that are retailers, they also have a retail option for their Kickstarter, where you get 3 copies to sell and then a demo copy for the store as well. That's something that I'm going to bring to a couple stores that I know to see if I can get them to back it.
That's one thing we learned at the Gamma Trade Show is don't alienate your retailers, because a lot of the retailers think, well, why would I want to carry a game that was kickstarted when, they might imagine that some large percentage of the fans of the game would have already bought it on Kickstarter. But the truth is that the more members of the Chaosmos community we have, the more retail copies will get sold. And so if you offer the retailers something special, in this case, we're giving them the 3 primary box copies plus the demo copy and materials for them to help sell the game, learn how to teach the game, and then sell the game. But we're also giving them the bonus cards, which allows you to play, if you want to, with a 5th player. So even though it's normally a 2 to 4 player game, it's something special that the retailers get, because we really, really want to support them, and it's been amazing. And the retail tier has been selling really well, and that's something that a lot of Kickstarter games don't have, is the support of the retail community.
And that's, for you retailers out there, I'm doing the math on that. That is an amazing deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal. We want to spread the game. We want people to know about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you should. I completely agree with you. I mean, Ian works at the game store. He actually works at the game store I started. So I've been a retailer myself, and I understand. And you're right, because in the end, you'll hear about it, and you'll get a little bit of the push here from the Kickstarter. But once the game's fully in production, it's the retail stores where you'll see it played, and people will be like, "Oh, what's that?" And that's how it just spreads like wildfire. So I'm as a former retailer myself, I'm really happy to see that that's something that you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks. One thing we learned was that when we would take the game to game stores, most of the people in the game stores would play Magic, and they would see us playing our game, and they would notice that we would be screaming when critical moments of the game happen. Oh, you got trapped, or oh my gosh, you're hiding on the toxic planet, or oh, surprise, I have the counter to your weapon. And they want to know what we're doing, and so a lot of the people that are hardcore Chaosmos players are also Magic the Gathering players. And so I think with the amazing support at retail stores for Magic the Gathering, I think we could have a lot of that for our game.
No, I agree on that. So I was looking at some of the names, some of the alien names, some of the planet names. Can you actually pronounce like everything there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
some of those words, I looked at them, I was just shaking my head going, I don't even know where to start.
Right. That's it. Yes. Well, aliens are not from Earth.
No.
by their nature. So my friend William Toombs is a British writer, and he is deep, as we speak, into research into the history of the biocosm, and he's been writing a bunch of behind-the-scenes philosophies of the different alien races and the history of their planets. And you can't really argue with someone who's a scholar, an exobiological scholar. You just sort of nod your head and say, okay, well, there's Eternic the Brutal, and he's from Kafav, and he's a warlike and brutal race. 80% of his language is insults, and the rest is boasts. And he has empathy, but he can't can't say I feel your pain. He only has empathy in the warlike way, like your fight is my fight. That's a Turnic the Brutal. And there's Drusu the Scryer, and Drusu is from Bismarck, and it's like the black magic type sciencey planet where they have these crystals of ancient lost civilizations, and they use these crystals to peek onto planets. And in the game, it's represented by scrying, meaning you're opening envelopes and looking for the ovoid. And there's Hamflagen, and he's from Ulu, and there's Gazme, the seductress, and she's from Jagladak, and Nixie, the scavenger. His story is that of a Mongolian Western. He's a murdivorous scavenger, and he's from Cyclocus, and he kind of lives inside these enormous elephantine, gargantuan ungulates that move around, and he kind of glides in and out of these giant roaming beasts, and he sort of hitches rides around the Cyclopean landscape. And he's a scavenger, so his power is he gets to take cards out of the void, which is like the discard pile. And all the aliens have their own, like I said, unique, kind of interesting powers. Clocknid is like the future of the internet. He's the automaton. He's a series of interlocking robots guided by a central intelligence, and he can control tech. So he can uplink to the Biocosmos internet, and he can control vaults and traps. And there's a lot of remote control that he has. The Haghuin is homesick, and she's the last of her race. And it's kind of a sad story because her planet was decimated by comets, and then the Kafavians, led by a Turnic and his war bands, sort of destroyed the remaining Haghuin. And so the Haghuin is the last of her race, and she believes the Ovoid is going to help her resurrect her race, or at least create a new race, so she won't be alone anymore. So her power is she's homesick. She can go back to Pendra whenever she wants, and there's a lot of unique reasons she'd want to do that. And then finally, there's Vroon, the adventurer. Vroon is like Han Solo. He can travel around the galaxy. He's got this special amnion suit. Amnion suits are like the rocket packs of the future. It's sort of like George Clooney in Gravity. It's a self-contained space suit but it can warp, and so you can go to various galaxies and planets that way, and you can also do planetary landings. So he is a much more compact and speedy amnion suit. So he's the adventurer. He's a celebrity on Guriwan, but he's also known elsewhere in the galaxy as a pirate. So those are the 8 aliens. And we have a couple really exciting bonus aliens. I'll tell you just 2 more, and then I'll see if you're still awake. The 2 bonus aliens. There's Turtalja, the Guardian. Now Turtalja starts with the Ovoid. That's his power. He starts with it, and everyone knows he starts with it. So he's got it, but everyone knows he's got it. So he's going to have to come up with a strategy quickly to protect it, or at least hide it somewhere, and sort of spread a fog over the landscape of fog of knowledge, so no one can tell exactly what he's done. Did he hypertube it to Jagladak, or did he hide it in a vault on Pendra? And he's got a couple other powers that relate to the fact that he's a member of the ancient and holy order of the Guardians of the Ovoid. So, and then of course there's Vlaklos, the Destructor. Vlaklos is like the opposite of Turtalja. Turtalja is the Guardian. He starts with the Ovoid. Vlaklos cannot win if he has the Ovoid. He only wins the game if everyone loses. He's sort of like the suicidal. He's very solipsistic. He wants the universe to end. He doesn't really feel relationship with it, and part of his religious value is that the universe will collapse and then he will be resurrected in the new universe, but only if the Ovoid fails to be imprinted upon. So the Ovoid is, of course, the new universe in embryo, and Vlaklos is its most hated nemesis, because he wants no one to have the Ovoid, which is the opposite victory condition to the other 9 aliens. So those are the 8 aliens plus the 2 bonus aliens in Chaosmos.
Wow, that's incredible. Just the fact that you have that much story and everything and behind this game already is just, I think it's impressive. I'm very, very much impressed here. Ian, did you have any questions? I think Ian had another question for you, though.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Before I get to that, did you want to briefly talk about Grit Mat at all? Because that's something that I haven't seen before.
Oh, sure. So we partnered with Break from Reality Games. They make Damage Report and a couple other great games like Disaster Looms. But they have found this incredible USA-based manufacturer that has created to their specs this amazing double-sided, sticky, grippy grip mat that you can play your games on. So it holds tiles, like for tile games and also for regular board games, like no other grip mat I've ever seen. And so we partnered with them to create a couple grip mats that were custom to our game, Chaosmos. There's one grip mat that is sort of a nebula space background, and you can play any space game on it. And then we have another one, which is our base board. And so you can roll it up and stick it in your backpack, and it makes Chaosmos really portable. So you can take it to cons, take it camping if you want to, and or you can eat lunch on it and not get any crumbs on your table. So grip mats are great, and so it's an add-on for our project.
Oh, nice.
So as I watched the play. For those of you that want, you can go to Kickstarter to Chaosmos, and they have about a 24-minute video of a full game being played. What is the average game length like for this game? Right.
So in that video, the average game at the time was about 90 minutes. It was sort of an epic experience, and we've figured out a way since we shot that video to actually take some stars out of the map and keep everything perfectly balanced. So we've actually gotten the game down to like 60 minutes for a basic game, and if you want to play a 48 or 60 turn game, it'll take about 90 minutes. But you can play a game as short as 36 turns, and it's absolutely the same perfect experience in about an hour. And so that was a wonderful innovation, I would say, that we discovered during playtesting.
That was actually going to be one of my next questions, is whether or not you had to have a 60-turn game and the ability to change it, especially, I guess, between, you don't need 60 turns for 2 players, but you may want it for 4.
Sure. Well, it scales very well because there's 10 planets, and so if you're playing with 2 players, it takes longer to explore all the planets. If you're playing with 4 players, the planets will get explored quicker, and you're only going to land on 3 or 4 planets in the first few turns, and so a lot of the other planets have been picked over. So maybe someone hid the ovoid or the temporal displacer, which is the time travel card, on one of these other planets, but you don't have to go to every planet to play the game. There's a lot of scrying, meaning peeking on the other planets and things like that. So you actually can play a 48-turn game with 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players, and it stays about the same length, even with 4 players. And so unless you're like my group and we like to argue and house rule a bunch of trading and stuff like that, but if you're just playing the game and you want to be done in 45 minutes, many amazing epic games have gone down in 45 minutes. It's been amazing to me as a designer to watch how the different play styles of different groups affect the game length between about 45 minutes and about 60 for a short game, and then 60 minutes to 90 minutes for the longer game.
Okay.
Well, I think it's awesome. Hopefully, once it comes out, we can get a copy from you and play it and talk about it a little bit more on the show, because I think it's tremendous. Joey, thank you very much for coming on here and talking with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys. I can't wait to be a subscriber and watch all your shows from now on.
Awesome. We appreciate that. Okay.
Thanks.
Well, have a good night. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Joe.
Okay, that was Joey Vigour with Mirrorbox Games, and I have to figure out how to get Ian back now.
Hello.
I think last time we did it, we disconnected and reconnected.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Wait, we're just going to try that. Okay, so here we go. High tech. Disconnect, reconnect. So that's what happens, guys. We disconnect, and we're going to reconnect because it's technical difficulty Tuesday.
And there we go.
Your
camera's working again.
There we go. Awesome. Okay. Yay. Oh, it's just one of those days today. Okay. So we would often go to a commercial break at this point. We're kind of running long, so we're gonna skip the commercial break. We're just going straight into it. So normally I would tell you what Kickstarter to back at this point. Wait a minute, where's my camera on? Bye camera. You don't need to see that angle. That was getting me from my bad side, which by the way is pretty much every side for me. So obviously, go back Joey's project. Like, look it up, Chaosmos, CHAOSMOS on Kickstarter, or just go to our Twitter or Facebook page. We've got it linked there. The game just looks incredible. So, and just hearing that, like, I was excited before. I'm really excited now. Now I just want to have it like right now in front of me to play.
Yeah, I mean, I saw what you'd give me to look at, and after browsing and watching a couple of short videos and the 20-something minute video, I'm sold on it. I'm definitely going to try to get a couple stores to do the retail backing. Yeah, no, that's
awesome. So, speaking of the games that we can play now, I'm normally I will let the guests start, but I'm going to go first right now because you were present at the genesis of this conversation. I'd like to start a non-recurring segment called Why I Hate Chris Wong. And non-recurring, this will probably be the only time I do this. So back at BlizzCon, Chris Wong, Ian, and I are all outside and we're having a conversation. And we're talking about random Blizzard stuff, and Chris is just like mesmerized on his phone. And I'm like, what are you playing? He's like, it's this game called Puzzles and Dragons. That is the moment that my life became noticeably worse. Because that is the moment that I found out about this game that has now taken over my life. It's addicting. Do you play it?
No, I don't, for good reason.
Good Lord, stay the hell away. Oh, God, I love the game. I love the game too much. Yeah, I have people in my life that tell me, Scott, put the game down. But no, put it down now.
It's like Candy Crush for gamers.
It really is. It's Candy Crush for gamers. That's a really good way of describing it there. Love the game. Play it constantly. Let me see. What else have I been playing? I've been playing What's He Building in There, which is a new board game, which I don't want to talk about too much because next week on the show we're having the designer of that game on. And this one I've played, and I loved it. It was awesome. It's a resource management game. And so I don't want to talk about it too much now, because we'll talk about it then. What else? I've been playing a lot of things. I've been playing Magic. I've been playing Hearthstone. I've been playing Soulforge. I've probably been playing too many games.
How is Soulforge now? I've seen Kibler stream it every once in a while, but it lost me a while ago when they had it out, and it just didn't become fun.
I like the game. I don't play that much of it. They have their dailies, and it involves like logging in and getting 1 win and getting 3 wins. And I've made 2 decks. One's called Free Win, and the other one's called Pure Gas. So I play Pure Gas, and my computer easy opponent plays Free Win, and I get a free win because my pure gas is just designed to get a guy down and hit him as big as quickly as possible. He could never win in any actual environment, and Free Win actually has no creatures in it whatsoever, and no negative and no negative spells. So basically, I goldfish to 100 and get my free tickets and stuff. I've done the drafts. I like the drafts. It's fun. I like that. Unlike Hearthstone, you actually get to keep the cards when you're done. Now, Hearthstone drafts are $2. These things are 7 tickets, which comes out to more like $5.50. So you pay something for the cards, but I do. I still like the game. I liked hearing the howl that came when from the other room when Hearthstone reset recently. oh my God, they reset to 25. Yes, they did.
Yes.
And that kind of came from me a little bit too, because I think I was down to like 10 at that point or something.
Well, I knew they were going to reset. I think I was down to about 3 or 4. But I had been grinding a lot because at BlizzCon, they had announced that, you got prizes for getting top ranked. You got these alternate card backs and these cool things. And then I saw a post that said, oh yeah, we're not doing those rewards during the test seasons. So at that point, I just stopped doing ranked ladder because I realized there was nothing for it.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to play as much as I never get to play anything as much as I'd like. But so that's a cross section of what I've been playing. Ian, what all have you been playing?
So Powered Cube was on Magic Online for a while. I had a lot of fun playing that. I think I had more fun watching good players stream it. So you got to watch like Kibler and John Finkel and all these other really well-known people stream. That was very fun. I haven't been playing a lot of other games, but I bought a lot of other games because I hate Steam and their Steam sales. So when I see, BioShock Infinite for $10 and the entire Tomb Raider collection for, $10 or $15 and all these other games. So I'm looking at my Steam tab and I have like 20 games, of which I actively play like 2.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a collector myself. I've had to stop on that. I'm like, if I'm not going to play it now, I won't. Especially this job here. Good Lord, if I bought every single game that I came across, I'd never get to them all, ever.
Yeah, so non-video games, I've been playing a lot of King of Tokyo recently. It's a Richard Garfield board game. Richard Garfield's the person who designed Magic. Was playing it at Shuffle and Cut a lot. It was very fun. I bought a copy to take home to my family. My brother was in town from college, from University of Michigan. All we did the whole weekend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, was play the game. And my brother liked it so much that I gave him that copy, and now I have to go buy another copy for myself.
Wow. Yeah, I wanna try that at some point.
It's very fun. Basically, like, you're each big monsters like King Kong or Godzilla or whatever, and your goal is to take over Tokyo and win by points that way, or to just kill all the other monsters. It's very fun. There's a lot of luck. It's modified Yahtzee style die rolling with power up cards that you can get. But it's fun, and the games only last like 20 to 30 minutes, so it's very repeatable.
Excellent. Cool. We're at the end of a show, which is, I think, merciful at this point. Actually, for one, we didn't actually have any major like errors.
No, all of the audio problems we had before seem to have resolved themselves, at least for now. Once we disconnect, I'm sure there will be some again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure once I disconnect, my computer is going to spontaneously come. It was just nice for this show. It's like, we'll let you have your little broadcast here, but then poof. So
yeah,
I'm
your hydraulic desk will collapse on itself.
It will. Oh God, please no. It's heavy enough as it is. Yeah, I'm still looking for a replacement for you on the internet, Mr. HP. So, okay, so no, that's the wrong music. That's not my music. Oh, you want? Go ahead.
So shout out again to Wicked Audio. Their headphones are really good. I got them both for free at CES. And then to Shuffle and Cut, if you're in the La Habra or Brea area, stop on by. We're open pretty late every night. Noon to 9 is the official closing time, but most of the time, especially like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're open to like between 11 and 1. Stop by, demo some more games, play some Magic, buy some stuff, have fun.
And I fully endorse that as well. I always like sending people to Shuffle and Cut. Always.
The nicest looking store I've been to now. We got new floors, we got next door, we have TVs where we'll be streaming stuff like GPs and the Pro Tour and whatnot. It's getting nicer and nicer every day. Nice,
excellent. So yeah, La Habra area, shuffleandcut.com. Check them out for more information. Ian, thank you for coming on tonight. It's always great having you around. Joey Vigour with Mirrorbox Games and Chaosmos. Go back that. Everyone else who's been helping me playtest and test my audio, and there's a lot of names out there. A lot of them are Melissa, so thank you to them. So until next week, I am Scott, and speaking for Ian for the Gamers Dome, and we will see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Take care.